So for today's vlog, I'm setting up something interesting in continuation with the concept of directions as we learn from the Vedic culture. So hope you find that interesting. Namaste, welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam, KYG. Thank you for taking time to watch this video. Yesterday vlog, when we discussed the altar and the direction, set me thinking, and I thought it is perhaps a good time to just touch upon a part of a Vedic ritual where they ascribed energies to different directions. Did you know how many directions were there as part of a Vedic ritual? We all know the 4 cardinal and the 4 ordinal, and so we say there are 8 directions. Yes, commonly, yes, there are 8 directions. But in a Vedic ritual, in a Vedic prayer, before you sit, you become mindful of 3 more directions in addition to 8. And so we'll come to that. But let's do it here. The idea here is not explain in detail, but just to open your mind to how tuned our rishis were to nature and surroundings. All right, let's begin with east. Let's place this towards east since I'm facing east. East was dedicated to the energy of Indra. Indra is the god of all gods, is the king of gods. And Indra stands for the awakened mind, for the enlightened mind, for wisdom. The 5 chakras represents the 5 senses of organs, 5 senses of actions, 5 senses of perceptions, and so on, and the 5 chakras. All of our so-called reality stands here. But when we go above this, the mind cannot go there because the mind is with the senses in all these chakras. Above this, when we rise, like in faith, like in prayer, like in meditation, like all of us have experienced, when this happens, then Indra comes into being. In other words, the mind gets the power and the energy called Indra. Indra is that awakened mind, the guru within. A very beautiful, that's why he is called the king of all the gods below these, all of these. He rules this body. So that is east. So when I sit facing east, I'm actually facing the awakened mind. As the sun rises in the east, I'm awakening the inner guru, the Indra within me. And therefore, Purva Dale, Purva means east, Purva Dale, Om Indraya Namaha, that is devoted to Indra. Then comes, before we go to south, then I'm going clockwise. Then I come to the next one here. This is southeast. From east, I'm going to southeast because east, west, north, and south, right? So south is here. So let me, I don't know if I have room here, but let's see. So this is southeast. What is southeast? Close to Indra. Southeast is dedicated to the element of fire. So the direction in Sanskrit is called Agneya. Agneya Dale Om Agneya Namaha. Agni. The fire is dedicated, or we invoke fire from here. That is why in Vastu, in the study, in the scripture of Vastu, they say cook facing southeast, because when you place a fire in the southeast, or your electrical junction box, or anything related to fire in southeast, then you're in tune with that energy that comes from the southeast. I've not understood this entirely, but I'm just explaining to you, and I like to believe this because these are the same rishis who talk to us about Saturn and Jupiter as well. So I give them the benefit of doubt. Southeast, dedicated to Agni. Then comes the cardinal direction. We have, let me see, I'll just place it here. So we have south. South is dedicated to time, is dedicated to an energy that we popularly called Yama. Yama is the god of death. Now, is that bad? Well, it's scary when I say death and god of death and all of that. But Yama is the ruler of time. So time is death for us, right? Time is limited. time limits us. When you and I think in terms of time and space, we are thinking of past and future, and we are thinking of here and there. We rarely think of omnipresence, omniscience. That experience is blocked by whom? By time. And that is given the direction of south. So when you sit facing south, you're actually facing a limitation of time. You're facing the idea of the little I and the me, and that's why Lanka in Ramayana was in the story, he was in the south. Ravana was in the south, and so facing south tends to limit that kind of thinking. And so south is dedicated to the god of death, if you will, the god of time, the god of limitations, right? So this is Dakshina Dale Om Yamaya Namaha, and you bow to that as well, because that's also part of this divine, beautiful creation of Parashakti, or the supreme creative energy. Sri Matre Namaha. So this is Yama. Then comes, so you have south and west, southwest. Now this is even a little more darker direction, if you will. I say darker because when I tell you what it is, you might get, oh gosh, I never want anything here. This is Nirrti. Nirrti. Om Nirrtaye. Nirrtaye Dale Om Nirrtaye Namaha. Naitritya Dale Om Nirrtaye Namaha. Nirrti is an energy of popularly it is a dark energy. It's a destructive energy. It is the Kali energy. It is the energy that brings about end to everything. And so that is south and west. Now it is said, it is believed that you don't really sit and face either south or southwest for anything. So therefore, sometimes if you have an altar in the west and somebody is sitting maybe this way and slightly facing southwest, then it's perhaps not considered a great idea, because southwest, as per the Vedic analogy, the Vedic rituals and the Vedic understanding, southwest is that direction where you begin to attract destruction, which is also part of the divine cosmic energy. But then, would you have the strength to control, understand and appreciate this? Until you reach that level of understanding, you don't want to invoke energies from here. So then what they do in homes, they have an idol of Hanuman or something facing this direction. You have to have facing this direction. You can't have a statue here, because then you will be facing that direction when you look at the statue. So you want an idol, or you want an energy facing this direction, which will say, okay, I'm looking at you, you're not going to enter this. There'll be no destruction and death, untimely destruction and death in this house. So normally they would face a Hanuman statue facing southwest. Remember, it is to be facing, right? And so you look at Hanuman, you show your back to this. So that's why when we sit northeast, because this will be east and north, then you're showing your back to death and destruction, untimely ones. Nirrti. All right. Then we come to the west. You have east and you have west. The west direction is dedicated to the water element. Om Paschima Dale, Purab and Paschim, right? Om Paschima Dale Varunaya Namaha. Varuna is water. Now, it is not a bad idea to face west, to do your prayers facing west. It is good, because it's water. Water is life-giving. But one has to understand that when you face west, you're showing your back to Indra, the enlightened guru. So it's up to you. Now, another thing is with west, when you face west, is the water energy represents the energy of the senses. So it is unless we live a very, very disciplined life in that particular ashram, in that particular household, in that particular environment, when you face this, you are invoking the energy of water. You are invoking senses to become more active. And if you don't know how to control them, then we get caught up and we'll have a more of a, it's believed. All this is a belief. Again, I leave it to you to believe in them or not. But then the water element, do I want to activate water element? If I do, then do I have a very, very strict disciplined lifestyle that will help me control and channel the energy of the senses, which is the energy of water, right? And so that is Varuna. Then comes the next ordinal one, and this is Vayu, air. Om Vayavya Dale. This is Vayavya Dale. You have west and you have north, so northwest is Vayavya Dale. Vayuve Namaha. I bow to the Vayu energy. Vayu is breath, Vayu is air, Vayu is the life-giving air that comes in from this. So this is again a beautiful direction. Normally we don't face these directions because again, like water, Vayu needs to be controlled. You just can't say, all right, I want more Vayu into my life and I have more Vayu without learning to control Vayu. Then our thoughts go all over the place, like wind. Wind has no direction, right? It can go east, west, and up and down and all of that. And so wind and water are energies that need to be controlled. So when we face these directions, we have to assume that our lifestyles are extremely disciplined, that I'm able to control the water energies in me and the Vayu energies in me. Then I will be able to face this and invoke the energies from there. So for therapeutic purposes, meditations facing water and air, meditations facing water direction and air directions are good. But in general, we don't do that. Okay. Now we come to the north, east, west, north and south. North. Uttara Dale. Uttara is north. Uttara Dale. Om Kuberaya Namaha. North is considered the god of abundance, the god of wealth. Now, when I say wealth, I know you will jump at it and say, okay, I'm going to have somebody in the north so I get a lot of money. Wealth in Vedic culture, money as part of wealth, is one small fraction. In one of the temples in South India, there are more than 150 types of wealth inscribed on a wall. And money is one of them. There are 149 types of other wealth. The wealth, the ability to speak, the ability to see, they're all wealth, right? The talent is a wealth. Richness, the ability to love, having a loving family is wealth. So there are so many types of wealth. He's the god of all of that. So facing north is again a beautiful idea, because then you are facing an energy that is going to provide you wealth of all kinds, which you can utilize in your everyday life. So the north direction is dedicated to Kubera. Then comes the northeast. This is my favorite direction, but it's just me. Northeast is Ishana. Ishana, the direction itself is called Ishana. Ishana Dale, Om Ishana Namaha. So Ishana is an aspect of Shiva. So Shiva has abundance on one side, enlightenment on the other, and he's able to harness both those energies and present them to you. So facing northeast is my way of saying I get both of these through Ishana. Isha is, he's got the third eye, he's youthful, he represents energy, he represents everything most beautiful, exactly as opposite to Niriti. She represents, this energy represents death, destruction, and so on. So I show my back and I have faced Shiva, and he, Ishana rather, an aspect of Shiva, he faces this direction. In other words, he keeps her away. That's why you have these opposites here. Alright. So now you have these directions. Indra, Agni, fire, Yama, time, Niriti, destruction, water, Varuna, Vayu, air, Kubera, wealth, Ishana, a combination of wisdom and wealth, and everything godly. Let's call this godly. Alright, this is beautiful. So we covered the 8 directions. What else is there? So in Vedic understanding, they would say there is a direction up, there is a direction down. So up is Brahma. So Urdhva Dale, Urdhva. Urdhva means up. Above, I bow to the Brahma energy, the creative principle of the creator of this world. So in a Vedic ritual, you place that You place it between north and northeast. You place it here. Okay, this is up, represents up. So in a yagna, if this is a pit with a fire, then they would do these things, and then they would place this on top here. This represents up, Brahma. Then what about down? Who is the deity down? Adishesha, the supreme Kundalini energy that is lying latent. Adishesha. Adishesha, on whom Vishnu is lying down. He's sleeping. The latent divinity is sleeping. The Kundalini energy is between south and southwest. Now you understand why they say Kundalini is dangerous and you have to be careful and all of that. Because it is between Yama and Nirarthi. She is there. Lanka is not so easy to access, right? So this concept here is shrouded in tremendous amount of discipline, faith and belief that one has to face in this direction. But we acknowledge that direction in a puja. Down. That is in the Mooladhara. Adishesha. Right above Brahma. And between all of this. Alright, so that made it 10, right? You have 8 and 2, 10. There is one more direction. This direction is the most beautiful thing in a puja. They'll say finally, Om Atmane Namaha. Going within is a direction. Now all this was outside. In the midst of all of this, up and down and all the 8 directions, I go within. And going within is a direction. So let me place that in the center. But this is where you're sitting in a puja, in a meditation. You acknowledge all these directions and say finally, Om Atmane Namaha. Now you go within. And then you begin your meditation, your chant and your puja and so on. So hopefully you found this helpful. May all the directions bring all abundance, wealth and prosperity into your homes, into your lives. And may we understand that though God is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, just like a cell phone signals, you face somewhere, you get more signal, and you turn this way, you get less signal. It is the same thing. When certain directions are dedicated from this cosmic energy principle, certain functional energies can be activated, can be drawn, invoked into your life by facing certain directions, by being mindful of certain directions in your home. Now, based on this, you can decide and how you want to fashion your home life and so on. So thank you for your comments from my yesterday's vlog. Please keep your comments and posts coming. I'd love to learn from you as well. Thank you all for watching. Namaste and have a blessed one.